hold good staff to the making yellow cake. We're abided by all the laws of the federal government, state government, and the disposal units, and everyone on which you lead. And they say the same things you're saying. It will not be, Ryan, it will not be, everyone of you.
Well, our approach is only
You
to
said
use,
you're saying it possibly will be.
well, the thing we're doing is just using federal guidelines.
Well, we want facts on this out here, not federal guidelines.
Your drawing 2002 says a protected soil layer of 1 foot. Does that change?
May I ask you just one moment?
Let him answer that question.
The gentleman on our staff who does the landfill design is Tom Cord. And I would really have to defer to him. He's the expert in landfill. He's run landfills. He ran Barnwell in South Carolina. He's got a lot of experience in this
Just
facility.
3 to 5 feet.
Well, I can't answer for where that's at. It says 1 foot, that's what it says.
You know, the thing about it is that there's no reason why that cannot be a bigger. I mean, there's nothing to prevent
Well, it's
making
nothing
food
to
later.
prevent the change on that. You're not going by the
Don,
regulation.
Oh, no. All we're saying, no, I'm sorry, I disagree, because what I'm saying is that maybe the regulations that will allow 1 foot, maybe we should be a little more stringent and put more than 1 foot. That's all I'm saying.
one question. Who wrote that map? In ThermalKEM. May I ask the ThermalKEM answer before the commission members give an answer? They wrote it. I'd like to get their answer first.
We have no problem with that. That's perfectly.
Oh, I think they've answered it. They don't know.
Well, I didn't say not specifically, I don't know, and then go on to someone else.
Oh, I believe they answered.
They replied.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to ask a question also on the state-of-the-art liners that are not supposed to leak. Are you gentlemen familiar, and is the state of North Carolina familiar about the GAO report, April 1990, indicating that there are 4,600 high-tech, state-of-the-art liners leaking in the United States, and is yours one of those type of designs?
I'm not familiar with the report.
It's a GAO report, it's public information. It's issued by the GAO and EPA reports.
About this year?
April of this year, yes, sir.
I-
Public domain.
Yeah, I get GAO reports. I've not seen that one.
Yeah, I get it too, and I don't understand it.
I don't know where to find it, but I think I have it.
While you're looking, I'm on.
I'd like to get an answer on that eventually. I don't know if I can find my copy, but
Well, in
I
any
think,
case, we will become familiar with that.
and how do you get around that problem is my concern.
Just to make a comment, one of the statements as well. My understanding for the reason for one of these type of meetings is to gain the public confidence in why such a facility would be welcome into the community. And I don't know, and I have to find out about it. I'm going to change the manual. Don't make me feel comfortable. I don't think makes anybody feel comfortable.
Well, you had,
I think you're doing a disservice to us and yourself as well.
you had 35 people put this proposal together. They're all experts. It's because you have to have a specific skill to understand all the detail there. No one person could understand all the detail that involves this kind of regulation, this kind of overview, this kind of documentation. We tried to bring a representative group today. We weren't sure what the agenda was. You had some technical questions. If we knew that a landfill was concerned, we'd bring Tom McCord. Tom McCord did the landfill work, and we'd be glad to make him available to answer these questions in more detail.
I'm like Bill, I'm getting a feeling that this field of endeavor that you all are involved in is just all really experimental. You all really don't have any hard, fast experience in running or managing one of these facilities, and I'm really uncomfortable with that.
Well, I don't think that's true, and I think the approach we take is to adhere to the best knowledge that the federal government has established, as well as our own proven technology, and trying to make sure that we go beyond what's just required. The federal government dictates how landfills are constructed today. They say how many feet of compacted clay. They say how many synthetic liners. The federal government says how to do the instrumentation, how to do the collection.
But the difference is this, why I make this, federal government.
Let's cut our editorial comments, if we may. We're going to ask questions, we're going to get answers, we'll have our editorial day later. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't want things to get out of hand. Mark still got a bunch of questions, and I'm sure everybody else has questions. questions, so please,
John, I found the reference on that.
all right.
I found the reference, Dr. Turner. It's dated Environmental Health Letter, April 27, 1990. It's very short, I'll read it. And I'm quoting, virtually all the nation's 4,615 hazardous waste facilities are leaking. The General Accounting Office has reported to Congress last week. That's enough said.
Yeah, what, could I have the, may I see it for a minute, just to copy down the number so that I can order it? Thank you.
I'd like to know how ThermalKEM is going to get around that, because that is a federal government specified, authorized, high-tech, double liner for landfill. And in the facility that's leaking, where you have lead in the ash, the lead is going to leach into the public water supply, and it's going to get the children and the elderly. And I'd like to know how ThermalKEM in the state of North Carolina is going to prevent those health effects.
If I, could I just address those GAO reports for one?
I understand your question, and it's a doggone good question. Let us get a copy of this, and let us see what the reasons were for the leaking, and then we'll tell you what the difference was.
Somebody copy that, please?
I know the design, I don't know which.
Get a copy, maybe.
This pen is back here, doctor, and I'll make you a copy as well.
We'll get a copy.
Oh, I think
We'll get the report.
Refers to this report,
this
not
is,
the report.
it is, this is the newsletter, refers to the report.
Read it
We'll
for
get the
yourself.
full report. I have the number right now, thank you. We'll get the full report, we'll get a copy for you too.
But I'd also like the answer,
No, I haven't.
you know, Dr. Turner, can we get the answer to that question?
Just as soon, yeah, as soon as we get the report.
Sure.
No, they don't need it.
Oh, they don't
You
need
don't need a copy of that. You
No,
got-
I have
You got a reference.
information. Mhm.
All right, let me ask one question and then move on. If the preferred site requested that the ash be recontainerized in addition to the liners and what have you, is that possible?
We said from the beginning that we're willing to work with whatever community is selected. If there's a concern on that issue, we're willing to talk about it, yes. If there's good rationale there, then we're not gonna object to it.
Well, good rationale is more containers the better, you know, inside one, inside another, inside another. Good rationale is build its own facility and store it above ground so you can look at it.
One of the interesting.
And I think that's a recommendation of many conservation council and a number of environmental groups. Don't bury it at all.
Above ground storage,
Yeah. Has that ever been considered
we,
by the commission, I think?
Yeah. We talked about it. We didn't make a decision on it. What we did, we said, let's look at both underground and
That's
above
still an
ground.
option?
Oh, yes, that's still an option. Definitely an option.
Thank God. Thank you so much, guys. That is the first note of encouragement I've heard in 1 month. Thank you.
Flames die down just a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
What kind of materials are the heat recovery boiler made of?
That's another design detail.
generally, can we answer generically, generally what they're made out of? Can we do that?
In the past, I've seen them made out of Inconel and other high-performance stainless. It's, it's a high acidity environment, high acid environment that you need to protect. Their life is not extended.
It'd be probably a water-cooled version.
So the material construction, take us through an operating year.
You place it over here?
Necessary to inspect it every year, and we have to go down to do that, so those equipment's in need of replacement. We have provisions established before the shutdown to replace it.
How to fly an aircraft?
So was it the boiler or through the scrubber system?
This year to the boiler. 508, 5008.
Okay. It would be, the ash would settle out in the boiler to, and be collected through the hoppers that exist underneath the boiler.
Why does it want to settle out? Why does it want to settle out?
Velocity changing in the heat exchanger. So we're getting a reduced velocity in the heat exchanger. It's also in contact with great number of additional surfaces, so it's falling out both by its loss of momentum
Where does it go when it don't come out?
It goes to the scrubber,
The scrubber
which is
system.
designed to take it out.
Okay, while we're at the scrubber, why don't you describe the function and the operation of the wet scrubber?
The wet scrubber will be a hydrosonics
Or
equivalent type, basically a three-section type of scrubber. Three primary sections to it. There's an atomizer section, which consists of basically a spray type of quench system. The atomizer section, essentially, you have water and scrubbing fluid spraying on the gas streams to remove the particulate material. Kind of a preliminary section to get most
Is
of
that
the
atomizer
particulate.
spray?
Yes. Then there's a section called a mixing tube section, which is, these are just going to hold this up here. We have the mixing tube section along here, which is where you have high energy steam injected along with the scrubber fluid. And the high energy steam shears the water droplets of the scrubbing fluid, creating a high energy state, which allows for an intermixing of the scrubber fluid with the particulate and the HCl gases, the toxic gases. The gas travels through the mixing tube and then finally comes to a cyclone section where the cyclonic action helps to separate the entrained particulate. And then all the water is collected at the bottom and pumped over to a wastewater treatment plant.
How big is it?
Physical size, it's about 40 feet tall and about,
probably about 6 to 8 feet diameter or something.
yeah,
How long is it
About-
mixing high energy section?
about 50 feet roughly. The whole scrubber or just the mixing section?
Mixing
The mixing section is about 15, 20 feet, somewhere in that range.
This design hasn't been finalized yet.
You got that through the order equivalent?
If I take a moment here and explain one thing, we're in the Part B permitting stage here up to October 1st, and during this period of time, we will be submitting detailed design engineering drawings on all of this equipment. And every detail will be spelled out.
The other thing to remember, of course, is that the site selection has not taken place yet. So we don't have a specific site. We don't know where this facility is going to be. The other consideration of something that we committed to the commission was to use as much as possible in-state suppliers, in-state people, as much as we could. And the only way you can do that is to work with those people as we get closer to site selection and specific design.
Your manuals say that you have alluded to the fact that you have this group of 500 employees that are fully capable of doing the design and construction of that, and you limit your use of outside resources.
That's correct. In fact, since this proposal was written, we also acquired Enser Corporation, who you might be familiar with, as an engineering and consulting firm who specializes in this kind of work. And there are 1,600 professionals in that company, which is part of the American ThermalKEM family.
Is that diluting your effort?
This is the #1 project for the whole company, and said that from the beginning, and it continues to be.
But you're one-third their size in both sales and number of business, and you've got this monumental challenge of pulling in line with the American ThermalKEM family, and that's not diluting your effort.
I don't think so. No, I don't. None of the key people have changed. The people who are involved with this project are still the people who are involved in this project. In fact, what we've got is additional resources to draw upon.
Do you have another customer besides North Carolina?
For a project like this?
Yes.
No, we do not.
Where is that plant in West Germany?
It's the HIM facility, and I'll have to get you a specific location. I don't remember the city off the top of my head.
In the Hessen area.
That's correct.
Mr. Shin, if I could elaborate just a bit on this scrubber. The design is not established as firm, and I think that you're looking for technical input where maybe technical input is not needed. The scrubber will be designed to meet the grains of dressing. grains in a pound. It's going to have a very small particulate load. I think what's most important, and should perhaps be most important, is that the design that we're selecting in .02 is far below what we're required to achieve, yet it has been demonstrated in many other facilities. We are going with a design, perhaps it is the lowest that we feel comfortable we can achieve routinely, but it's not as if we're inventing this design. This design, this performance level has been achieved at many other facilities, at other facilities. We have searched. .02 is far beyond what the state would require us to do, is far beyond what the federal government would require us to do, but it is what other people have done, and it is what we choose to do here. How we do that has been demonstrated in other facilities, and come time to put on paper the materials of construction, the flow rates, the throat lengths, the diameters and the heights of the equipment, we will know those parameters. Right now, we are searching for those parameters that we know exist because we've been to facilities, we've talked to operators that meet .02 grains per dry standard cubic foot. That's our target, and that is what we will design, and if it's been done at another facility, we'll do it at our facility. It's achievable. That's where we're headed. How we get there, we're going to have to trust that the people in the field that have already gotten there will share with us their knowledge. And I'm completely comfortable that they will.
Alright, but none of this is in this manual.
That's a
.02 grains is not in the
Yes, it is.
technical manual.
It is. The .02 grains per dry standard cubic foot is the design point, is proposed. It's a proposed item in that document. It's not on those drawings. Those drawings show a concept.
Yes, I agree with you.
Can you explain to us what the .02 significance is?
What's the significance of it? Well, I guess I'm not sure what.
It's a very high capture rate, so there's very low emissions. And it's been proven that that can be achieved, and what we've said, and what Joe was talking about, is we're gonna do the same thing. That's the best proven technology, and that's what we're gonna use.
I can tell you what the federal government would require us to achieve. They would require us to achieve .08. So we are doing 4 times better in loading
I still
than
don't
what the
know.
federal government.
That's
Grains of particulate matter.
.02 grains per dry standard cubic foot of gas moving through cleaner system. It used 7,000 grains per pound. So you can see the relative size of the .02 grains per
How many
cubic
microns
foot
would
of
that be?
air.
How many microns? Microns are size.
On the particulate